Hello, everybody, and welcome to another My Music. I'm going to be talking to somebody who's drinking one of my favourite drinks right now. Well, it might be, it might not be. It looks like a milkshake. Is it a milkshake or is it a smoothie?
It's a breakfast milkshake, so it's a coffee with protein powder in it. I thought I was being really subtle with drinking that. Then you didn't even see it.
Well, there you go. I must admit, I do like a really thick strawberry milkshake.
Yeah,
I
especially in the
really do.
summer. Absolutely.
I had one yesterday because it was so hot when I got to Waterloo Station. But that's
Oh.
completely another story. We'll be talking to the wonderful Natalie Gray straight after this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
There you go. Natalie,
Hi.
I just got to say, right, I love your whole look, your
Ah.
whole persona, your whole everything. In fact, what I'm going to have to do, because it's just so this, is I'm going to have to change that to that.
That is very me. Yes.
Yeah?
I'm here for it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. I don't know whether anyone out there remembers. If they're old enough, they might do. But does everyone remember the Timbuk 3 song, Future's So Bright, I've Got to Wear Shades?
That's literally you right now.
It's me right
Yeah.
now, right this minute. But it's you as well, Natalie, because that's what you bring, right?
Oh, thank you. I'll take that. I'm obsessed with kind of like the 80s kind of vibes and like all those bright
Energy.
colors and craziness. Yeah. I love it.
Oh, it's a defining moment in sort of like pop and whatever for you. Is it like when Madonna suddenly burst onto the scene and it was like Holiday and Into the Groove and whatever, and it's just
yeah, it's really strange because like I grew up in the 90s and like my parents were very much music from the 80s lovers. So growing up, I didn't really listen to 90s music. Like I kind of thought Madonna was out at the same time. Like
right.
I thought like a Prayer was coming out like when I was like a teenager. So for me, I was like, oh, I love Madonna and I love David Bowie and I love like Prince, and all my friends were like, no, it's all Backstreet Boys, and I was like, I don't really understand these people.
I'm going to change that back so I can actually see. Yeah.
So yeah, and then like when I kind of discovered like the 90s legends like the Spice Girls and like NSYNC and Britney Spears, I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is so like where I am, because I love like Madonna's like a Prayer and Material Girl. They are such big influences in kind of like my music influence. But then I learned about Spice Girls and how they were like all individual and all didn't care what anyone thought and very much just in their own worlds, and they were unapologetically themselves.
Yeah.
I just think is such a beautiful thing, especially nowadays. Like it's so easy to be a carbon copy, and it's so easy to just, especially with the like of social media, to just do what others are doing. So when the Spice Girls were on the scene and they were like, there was one for everyone. Like you could be, oh, I'm way more of a baby than a sporty, or I'm a ginger, I'm not a scary. And
it's like a box of chocolates for people. Yeah.
Which I just think is just brilliant. So that's, yeah, definitely like those kind of attitudes really defined my musical life, really.
Did it suddenly sort of click in your brain as well, like where the permission had come from? Do you know what I mean by that? So like if you went in that kind of order music wise, did it suddenly click to you? Well, the Spice Girls, they existed because people like Madonna gave the permission, etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we very much owe a lot to the greats from the last few years. Like, you look back at the stuff Madonna used to do on stage that was pushing the boundaries, or like people would talk about it for weeks on end. And now people are doing those sort of things all the time, and it's everywhere.
It's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Whereas actually, like, stuff like the Like a Prayer video was so like taboo, and everyone was a bit like, can we watch this? Can we play this? And now you watch music videos and you're like, oh, should this be on TV? Okay. Yeah. So it's just so interesting that so much from the 80s has really influenced who we are now. And it's all coming back round. Like Chapel Rowan, all her music now is very much influenced. You can really hear that Cyndi Lauper aspect and Griff. She's using all those synths, and which is great for me because that's the kind of music I make. But it's really great how so many artists now are really like edging backwards and just taking influences from so many amazing people.
I know. I being an old person, I lived through all of that, and you know, when like moments like when Madonna did the whole like spin the bottle scene. If you haven't ever seen that, folks,
Google
Google it. The spin the bottle scene, and then you know, showed what she could do with a bottle. You know, it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. And yet, as you say, no one, you know, you could go on the old TikTok and see that every 5 minutes now if you wanted to.
Well, absolutely, which is crazy.
Yeah, and every and that's something that's changed though in your lifetime, my lifetime, or whatever, which is that actually anybody can do it now.
Yes.
Once upon a time, you had to be famous to be pushing the buttons, pushing the edge, but now anybody can do it. What impact has that had on your music?
I mean, I feel like, sorry to bring it up, but lockdown, when people were going viral on TikTok and people were becoming celebrities and famous artists just through this app, it really did kind of shake things up a bit for the better and for the worse, I kind of think, because it's a great platform to get your music out to so many different places. And like, I actually had a song that hit the charts in Brazil because of TikTok, and I didn't even know I would have a fan base in Brazil.
Yeah, no, we do on here, and it's mad, right?
Yeah, incredible, the span, but also, like you said, anyone can do it. So I've actually been in writing sessions with people who have never sung before, never written a song, but they went viral on TikTok. And so a label has signed them, and then I'm now writing for them. And you go, as someone who's been like gigging in small pubs since the age of 22, or going to small festivals and no one's listening, but you're powering ahead, hoping that one day someone will listen. The game has changed. And I do believe you can either get bitter about it, which is so easy to do. And believe me, in lockdown, I did it several times when I was like, I don't have the motivation or the mental stability to be posting music or writing music. And I did find myself going like, oh, I've worked so hard, and then these other artists are just smashing it out the park. Or you can join them. And that's kind of what I do now. Like I see TikTok as very much an outlet for just getting my music out there. I see it as another kind of job rather than seeing it as a numbers game and getting obsessed with it. I post, I will leave, and I will do it in my daily work time, and then I don't get stressed about it. But I'm still gigging constantly. I'm still putting my music out there. I'm still doing all the things I used to do, and hoping that maybe a mix of the two will work. But you're so right. Anyone can do it now, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It is like when I was growing up, music was very much seen as like someone who was privileged could go and do music. And coming from a working class background, I had to have like 3 different jobs at the same time, as well as going to music school, as well as doing all the things to try and have a music life. I had to be paying my rent, paying my bills, which is, I mean, it taught me to have thick skin. It taught me to work hard, but it was knackering. So I do get it. But nowadays, people like me can have a career in music and not have famous parents or whatever it is, and which is great. So I'm very grateful for the turn of events in this world, because I probably wouldn't be doing music if that was a situation. Because
you do realize though, if you get mega big, which you know it could happen,
hopefully
right?
very soon.
Yeah, very soon, right? That somebody's going to go and find a second aunt once removed that you are related to, who's famous for, I don't know, having the most amazing toenails in the world or something. and then they're going to say that basically your success will be down to that. I mean, that happened with Lola Young recently, because Julia Donaldson, who you know is the children's author, they discovered they were related somehow, and it's like she's got to fame because a great aunt or something writes children's books. What absolute nonsense. Why are people kind of delving in there? You know?
I think it's the bitter aspect. I think a lot of people, I think that is a problem with social media, is people tend to see things online and get jealous, and it's quite a negative space sometimes. And I mean, I get it a lot. I get trolled quite a lot. And it is hard to not take it personally, but sometimes you have to go, do you know what? It's a reflection of their unhappiness. And I'm not just going to get involved in it. Like, and I do agree. It is a lot easier if you do have a famous relative or even someone who's in the industry. And to be honest, my parents were, back in the day, my dad was a stand-up comic, just like he did the circuits, like, and then met my mum and they decided to settle down, be adults and get real jobs. I
I just need to ask, has he gone back to being disgraceful now?
Oh, he's been disgraceful his whole life.
Great.
But yeah,
Great.
no, he's a child in a man's body, is my father. But he is an adult
Most
in
men
the
are.
work. Yeah, exactly. Like he's amazing. Both my parents are. They're so supportive of what I do. Like they are front and center at every gig. They are the people who I could release the worst song in the world and they would cry about how proud they are. They're just amazing. But growing up, they were very much like, follow your dreams, do whatever you want. And if that is a famous artist, if that is an actress, if that is the lollipop lady down the road, you do whatever you want. And I think that's the most important way of success. Like I was aware that you could have a career in the arts, but I was also aware it's going to be hard, but if it makes you happy, do it.
I think that's something that's happened in this last generation, because I think so many of us of our age,
Yeah,
our parents said to us, now you can't just go and do that. Why
Yeah.
not? It's not and I'm not just going to blame my mum and dad, and I'm blaming you, mum and dad, but I'm not just blaming mum and dad. I'm going to blame like teachers and the whole system and everything.
Yeah,
as well.
society in it. Yeah.
It was completely that. I mean, I remember completely disappointing my parents and my teacher at school. I think it was when we had an interview about which A levels we were going to take and
Yeah.
whatever. And I said, I want to be a poet. And they all turned to me all at once and went, well, you can't. You can't.
It's ridiculous.
And the teacher, do you know what the teacher said? The teacher said, I think what you mean is you want to go into publishing.
No.
I said, no, I want to be a poet. And mum and dad were like, you can shut up now. You can shut
Yeah.
up. You listen to the teacher. But that's how that was. But I think because so many of us of a generation went through that.
Yes.
Right. The next generation got, look, if it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, Sheryl Crow should write a song about that. If it makes you happy, then you should do it. Right. And it's true.
Oh, 100%. And my parents have always had this attitude of like, life is short, do what you want to do. Like, and like, there's been so many times over the last like 10 years when I've wanted to quit and I've said like, it's never going to happen for me, or I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough. And I always end up home with my parents having these big chats. And they're always just like, if you genuinely want to, we'll support you. But if it's just a blip, we'll get past it. We'll keep going. And they're amazing for that. And I owe so much of my career to them, because they've never at any point said a negative thing about it. Even like when I did my A levels, I wanted to do like music and stuff, and the school I went to didn't supply music. You couldn't do music. My parents were like, well, just do other subjects that you enjoy that could help, and then go to a music school. That's something you could do. And it wasn't a big deal. They were just like, okay, well, we'll just do other things outside, which was so great, because at any point where a teacher would be like, yeah, but that's not a real job. I heard that so many times when I was like, I want to be a singer, I want to be a songwriter, I want to perform, I want to be in musicals. They'd be like, it's not a real job. And I'd be like, but you listen to the radio, there's artists on there. You go to the theatre, that's performance. They started somewhere. And why can't I do it?
Hey, listen, these days being on this is a
Yeah.
real job.
Absolutely. I've paid my rent for it for the last 10 years and I'm very grateful for it. But it is hard when I talk to other artists whose families don't support them in that way. And I realize how lucky I am that my parents are they're my number one fans, but they are just so supportive, which is amazing. So I'm very grateful for them.
Now, at this point, little competition for anybody that's watching this, not just listening to this, who is neurodivergent, because as Natalie's been speaking, I know in your brain, you've been looking at that background there and you've been trying to work out what comic or whatever that is. If anyone can work out what that comic is in the background on display in the background, you could win a prize. I'll give you a prize for that.
Oh, these wardrobes are. I bought them from IKEA and they were just plain white. And again, ADHD brain just was like, can't. I've got loads of things to do, but that's annoying me. And then my partner came home from work and I'd covered it in comic book strips. And he was like, okay, I see it. And I was like, this is what I've done today.
And so you understood exactly what I mean, right? Like anyone
absolutely.
neurodivergent watching this would be
What's that?
absolutely fascinated by that. We can't help but be drawn.
Yes, yeah.
It has to be drawn. You know, I've had the same from people who commented about this, you know, which is not wallpaper, folks. It is actually painted. This was painted.
Wow.
My wife painted this.
Love that.
Stenciled it. We have 3 walls in the house like this. But they're like, I was listening to you, but the background, it took me away. It took me.
But I love that because I always feel like some people would find it like they go, oh, you're not listening to me. Whereas I'm like, I'm the same. I'm constantly like, what's going on? What's happening? But I can also hold a conversation. But I'm also taking all these things in.
Yeah, you're doing it all at once.
Absolutely. It's the beautiful superpower of ADHD and neurodivergent. I genuinely think it's a superpower.
It is.
Yeah. And no one I know in music is like, I don't know what the right term is, but not neurodivergent. Like everyone in music has this superpower somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we're in this job, because we couldn't do anything else.
Now, we don't want to invite stalkers, especially, you know, given the fact I watched that Holly Willoughby thing last night on the TV.
Oh,
oh my word, that was
terrifying, isn't it? Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see the documentary?
I haven't seen the documentary yet. I've seen clips of it, and obviously I kept up to date with everything that was happening when it was happening. It's bless her, just horrific.
Absolutely
so, yes.
horrific. And a start warning to all of us out there that just, you know, how much if we do share. I mean, it's difficult if you have to share in order to let people in, but if you do share, just what if it falls into the wrong hands, people can get from that. I mean, they were showing things like, you know, if you share a photo of your children, like in the wrong people will like spot which badge it is, then go and find out which school it is. And it's just
well, I mean, my sister had someone that she won't mind me saying this, but she had someone sending her presents years ago to her work, and she was like, how do they know where I work? And we were like, don't know. And then we went on her Instagram and there was a picture and it was in the background.
Oh my!
And they literally found all these things out and then like mapped and like found out like the pictures from the background of it and like found where she worked. And she was like, I need to be very careful what I post. And I'm like, unfortunately, social media is incredible, but it's also, there's this dark side of it that is, I mean, I've been there before. I had a horrible situation. I go into schools and I talk to kids about inclusivity and like being, I have mental health issues and talking about why that's important to talk about, and also that you can have a career in music. And I came back from a school and I had about 10 death threats via TikTok from teenagers at this school, and they were vicious. And I'm quite good at going, it's fine. And then these 10 messages came through and I didn't want to leave the house. And it was terrifying. And you go, why am I putting myself online and on these places? Because this isn't the life I want to leave. I'm very positive, very happy person. I don't want to be involved in this. But unfortunately, it happens.
But I think you're the kind of person that could write like the stalker song, but no. And actually, if you think about it, stalker almost feels like an 80s vibe anyway, doesn't it?
It does. I like it. I like it a
lot. So I think you could like write the ultimate sort of stalker song, and it could be almost like a love song, right?
I get that. Yeah.
Right. But it has that serious message, and then you could bridge the gap. You could take it into schools where you don't frighten youngsters too much with it because it's a catchy 80s kind of vibe, but it has that serious undertone to it.
But that has that, please don't do it because it's terrifying.
Yeah, please don't do it. It's a great song. It's a great message. You can dance to it, but don't do it.
Listen. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of and we had great moments like that in the 80s. There used to be a TV program. I think it was still running a few years ago, but not to the same poignancy that it used to be. There was a very famous TV program that was on when I was a kid called Grange Hill.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. And they released a song at something at one point about not doing drugs.
Yes.
Yeah,
they
just
did,
say
yes.
no. It was just say no.
Yeah. Oh, I'd erase that from my memory. Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we need to bring that back. I think
Absolutely, but no stalking.
yeah, no stalking. I
Yeah.
just no, that's absolutely something. Now listen, so but we don't want to invite stalkers, but you were mentioning where you live,
Mhm.
right? So I think we can give the overall geographic location because that's
Yeah.
fine. I don't think so. You live in
Leighton Buzzard.
Leighton Buzzard. Now
Yes.
I'm going to say right, Leighton Buzzard holds some very dear memories for. Well, it holds some
Yeah.
very vibrant memories for me. I'm gonna give you two things from Leighton Buzzard, right?
Go on.
Probably one of the most scary moments of my life,
Okay.
right? Their main road running out of Leighton Buzzard, the big A
Yes.
road, is
Yeah.
the
Oh, I don't know.
is it the A5 or the A12, something like that? It's
I'm a sat nav girl. I'm
one of
so
those.
sorry.
One of those.
Yep.
I can't remember right off the top of my head, but go and look it up.
Yeah.
I went to see a girlfriend at the time in Leighton Buzzard, and when I left home, there was a fog warning,
Okay.
right? And it was one of the worst sets of fog. I don't know how you describe that. It was the worst fog that they'd had for years and years and years. And
Right.
I had to get off this slip road and onto this main road in deep fog.
Oh.
Literally could not see anything.
Oh no.
And that was so scary.
Yeah. No. That's
I
not the
mean,
one.
like literally you're going down because you know how like normally you'd go down a slip lane, like, and you
Yeah.
get faster and faster because you're trying to join this main carriageway, and you're right. It's literally you're crawling along this slip road at
Oh.
about 10 miles an hour, thinking in a minute I've got to get on that main road. It
No.
was just
No.
and visibility was literally like a bonnet's width in front of you. That was it.
That's terrifying. No,
That
thank
was
you.
absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
At one point, I just thought, do you know what? In a minute, I'm just going to have to pull over somewhere. I'm literally going to have to fall asleep in the car.
Yeah.
And that was it. But I did it. I made it. I'm here now. So that was a very terrifying moment.
Yeah. No, thank you.
The other thing was I went into, I bought, and you can, I don't know, I'm going to ask you about this, but do you know how like you can always remember where you buy sort of albums and stuff and like
Yes. Yeah.
really kind of defining sounds and whatever? And I went into a little record shop. It's probably not there anymore in Leighton Buzzard. And I got a Stina Nordenstam, my first ever Stina Nordenstam album,
Right.
which was absolutely, and it blew my mind. This
love that.
album was absolutely blew my mind. And it's a mixture of kind of like playful jazz, and she had this voice, which is a child, and it was just, it's like nothing otherworldly. So that to this day, Leighton Buzzard holds some very dear memories for me,
Oh.
and partly because I found this amazing new talent in there. Where can you tell me one place where you've bought an album and it's just stuck with you?
Do you know what? This is going to sound very cliche, but the first ever physical CD I ever brought, it was in Reading, HMV. And I remember I went with my dad and I had my pocket money and I was desperate to buy this CD. And I can't for the life of me remember the name of the band, but it was, do you remember that song? UGLY, you ain't got no alibi, you ugly.
Ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. I was desperate because I remember listening to it on the radio and being like, this song is so funny. I need it. And my dad was like, right, we can go into Reading and we'll go get, and it was a big thing. Like, it was a day out. Like, we went for lunch and I went and bought this CD. And like, it's so weird because now obviously you just stream it on insert.
I'm going to bring it back for you. That's Daphne and Celeste.
Daphne and Celeste. I was obsessed. I thought they were so.
Do you know what I really
great.
loved about them? And actually, I think they were quite defining. Actually, in
Yeah.
a way, is that they actually look quite normal.
I think that's what I loved about them. They looked like my
They look like
mates.
just two girls that
Yeah.
are just like, you know, decided one day that they were going to record a. They weren't like, and I don't mean this, you know, in any bad way, but they didn't look like scissor stick thin or anything, or like
They looked like,
overly polished. They looked
yeah,
like just two normal girls that had just
yeah.
dressed up a little bit and were having fun, and they'd almost made this up in their bedroom with hairbrushes, and now they'd recorded it and they're still singing it in hairbrushes, and they just want us all to join in.
I think that's
what-
why I loved it, because I loved that they looked like, oh, I don't like this term, but like the regular woman,
Yeah.
like there's.
I think
a
it
lot
was
of-
really important. I think it was-
Absolutely. Like the 90s has a lot to answer for when it comes to things like body image and
Oh.
self-esteem, like a lot to answer for. We won't even talk about the program that used to come on a Friday night where they used to weigh celebrities, but there was something about those two that I thought they were like my mates. Like I remember listening to that song and I was like, I want to hang out with them. They seem like I could have a right laugh. They're normal girls that I could just chat to. And I think that's why as a kid, I really wanted to know them and wanted to listen to music. And I think that's kind of like why Ed Sheeran blew up so much, because he was just a regular kid. And you looked at him and you were like, you could be my mate. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love going to a gig when like the artist is really just chill and talks to the audience, and it's like you're just having a cuppa with your mate. That's my kind of vibe. Like I'm never here for the like big and fake attitudes or anything like that. I love just the bit of banter. If something goes wrong, it is what it is. And I think Daphne and Celeste are just the epitome of like being yourself, and I love them.
And I think we actually still live in a bit of an odd time,
Yeah.
because there's still an overlap
Mm.
between, they're still hanging around some legends
Absolutely.
of music, right? Not as many as there used to be, but they're
Yeah.
still hanging around some legends from a time when anybody that made great pop and whatever, and that was massive, was mysterious.
Yes.
And you kind of knew about them,
Yeah.
but you didn't know them, right?
Yes.
And that actually part of what you loved was the fact that you would never get to know them.
Yeah.
You used to dream, oh, I wonder what it would be like if I met Prince. And,
Yeah.
and you know, and whatever. But you knew you would never, ever, ever, unless you know, unless he found you somewhere and you'd written a great song and he was like,
Should have been great. Yeah.
You're gonna come to Paisley Park and we're gonna hang out.
The dream. It's
Yeah.
I think social media has made everyone so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Which again has its ups and its downs, because like I said, when I get trolled, it is quite hurtful. And I remember kind of talking back to a troll and being just like, hey, this isn't a nice message. Like, just wanted to say, like, I hope you're okay, and like, please don't be posting stuff like this. And they actually messaged me back and they're like, I'm so sorry, I never thought you'd see this.
Right.
And I was like, why would I not see it? Like that, of course I see every comment, every message. And I actually post a lot about that. I post like, hey, I'm Nat Gray, I'm a synth-pop artist. I still reply and see all comments and messages so that people can, because I love interacting with people when they're like, this song means this to me, or this song did this. Like I have a song that came out for Pride in London a few years back, and the amount of people that reached out to me and were like, this song helped me understand my friends, or help me come out, or help this. And that to me means so much. I love hearing that. But then when you get the negative stuff, it makes you just want to come offline completely, because it is so upsetting at times. And then you go, well, actually, sometimes they don't mean it. It's just, like I said, they didn't even know I'd see it. They had no idea that I'd even respond. And you go, well, yeah, of course I am. I'm just at home reading your messages. Like,
do you do? You say you go into schools and things like that.
Yes.
Do you do any sort of talking on the corporate level about ADHD and?
no, I haven't yet.
Can I book you sometime to do something?
Absolutely,
Right,
of course.
okay. That'd be good. I mean,
Anytime.
it would actually be good to you know. I go to some of these conferences about inclusion and you know, and accessibility and ethnicity and cultural diversity and all of these things, which are all great. And you have speaker all day long, and I just think it would be great to have like speaker. music, and then
Well,
with
that is kind of yeah.
yeah,
Like
do you know what I mean? Oh,
yeah,
where you
it
could
really
still
works.
speak as well, but
Yeah.
just like we're going to break up everybody just killing us by PowerPoint with someone singing a song.
Well, I think that's why the schools love it, because I perform a few songs with the kids and I show them my music and I talk to them about how fun it is to have a career in music and how hard it is, but how great it is. Like genuinely, I'm so lucky. And then I talk to them about, I've actually, I was diagnosed with PTSD a few years back. And I talk to kids about how important it is to talk about mental health as well. Like talk about neurodivergency, talk about inclusivity, talk about these things. Don't be afraid. It's not taboo. It's not like something I'm really passionate about is like talk to people about their culture, about where their families are from and what gender they are. Talk to people because ignorance is what leads to hate. And if we don't know, we can't understand. And I'm like that with my PTSD. I'm very much like, ask me anything about it. I will tell you whatever you need to know, because if you don't understand it, how can I expect you to then respect me or understand me when I'm having a wobble?
Do you know
Like,
what?
it's so
I'm
important.
actually going to get you back on one of my other podcasts where we can talk about PTSD, because that would be good as
Do
well.
it. Absolutely.
It's one of the things I do. So I do this music podcast. This is something I don't get paid for, right? I don't get any payment for doing this music podcast. It's sponsored by Analog Trash, which means the wonderful people at Analog Trash send me some records.
Brilliant work. That's what you. That's the life.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a help. Let's help each other situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
They send me some records. I think they do a great job, and we both get on like a house on fire. But don't get paid any money for this. We have now got a little community where people can help put money into it. It's a £1 a month, folks, or £12. It's £12 for the year. And actually, there's loads of artists in there, and you can help the artists in there as well. Some of that money goes to artists as well, so that's brilliant, right? So
great.
Natalie will be coming in afterwards. She gets in free of charge, right? But yeah, it's so important, right?
Absolutely.
But one of the reasons I started this is because on some of my other podcasts, I do talk about all of this serious stuff, right? But it's a conduit, right?
Yeah.
People find me on here, and I think because we now live in this more in a world where people can understand that people can be much more multifaceted, and you don't have to sit in these little boxes.
Absolutely.
Right? That they come in and they go, I want to find out about this musician. Great. And I love music and whatever. And then they go, oh, you've got a podcast on workplace well-being, or you've got a podcast over here on neurodivergence. And it's like, I quite like you. I'm going to go and listen to that as well. And that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is great, because it like pulls people along, and
100%.
And I think it's one thing that a lot of artists need to be really quite savvy at these days as well, is like actually delivering all of the facets of them as a personality.
Yes.
And not just sitting with the music box bit, but
yeah,
even if they make it famous or whatever, do a podcast about the other thing that you're really passionate about. Write a book about something else, because people want that. Right. And it's part of your USP as well.
Yeah. And it's something like, for music is my outlet. It's what I write music to deal with any issues I have in life. Like all my songs, the reason I love like the kind of dance synth pop world is because it's what takes me away from any issues I have. Like if I'm having a bad day, there's nothing like whacking on a bit of Celine Dion or like Whitney Houston in the background and having a dance around the flat, or the occasional Britney Spears. But that's what I love. And then when I release a song and I talk to people and they're like, oh, I could never do that because I have anxiety or I have this. And I'm like, me too. Like genuinely, like sometimes getting on stage is the hardest thing I can do. And like having PTSD, being around people sometimes is so difficult. And sometimes I can't do it. Sometimes I don't do it and I'm at home and that's just what I have to do. So I love talking to people and being like, if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. And it's not all roses, it's not easy, but it is worth it. So that's something I really enjoy talking about, is mental health doesn't have to define you, but you also have to accept that there will be moments when it takes over, and that's okay. So I always call my PTSD a needy friend He's just a needy friend that sometimes I have to give my full attention to, but other times he can just come with me. But sometimes he has to have my full attention. And I think that's really important to talk to people about.
I totally agree. Natalie, I've loved having you here today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated it.
An absolute bundle of fun, and I think we're you know, we will meet again sometime very soon. Listen, folks, if you want to dance with somebody,
absolutely,
Natalie Gray is the person to do it with.
Yes,
Natalie,
please.
Where would you like people to start? If people are like now going off from listening to you on here and going, right, I'm going to check out the Natalie. Where would you what song would you like them to start with?
Oh, please listen to Live in Love by Natalie Gray, which is on Spotify, it's on Amazon Music, it's on Deezer, it's on all the things, Apple Music. It's a fun pop 80s song taking like reference from Cyndi Lauper and Whitney Houston. And all my music and all my like upcoming live dates are all on my socials, which is at Nat Gray Music, and it's Gray with an A, as you can see in the little box there.
Do it, because girls, they want to have
They
fun.
do. They just want to have fun.
Oh, that's all they really want. That's all they really, really want. They really want a cigar. Whatever that is.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Spice Girls, so 100%.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for coming and talking to me
Thank you, lovely.
today.
Really appreciate it.
This has been the wonderful Natalie Gray. You've now heard her on here. Now go and check out her music everywhere.
Yes, please.
If you've enjoyed this has been My Music. Do follow along at mymusicpodcast.com. Give the old Spotify a nice like and a rate if you can. That's every little helps, as Supermarket once said. And we'll be back soon with more of the same.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
From us, bye for now.